Hello Year 3, it's Miss Allen here. I'm coming to teach you a new Pentecost skill and it's all about solving problems linked to estimating and measure. So this is our learning challenge. Can you solve problems linked to estimating and measure? So to begin with, we're going to think about estimating weight. So I'm going to bring something on the screen and you're going to write down on whatever you've got, maybe a paper and a pen or a whiteboard. You're going to write down how much you think that object weighs. So we're estimating. When we're estimating, what unit do we need to do? If it's weight, who thinks they know that? I think we'll need grams. So grams if it's something that weighs kind of small. If something weighs a lot, we're going to need kilograms, which is 1,000 grams is 1 kilogram. So 2 kilograms is 2,000 grams. So the bigger it goes, it will go into kilograms. So grams and kilograms, we're going to start them. We're going to start with our first object. Are you ready? So we've got a mouse. How much do you think a mouse weighs? 19 grams. Brilliant. Let's try another object. Got a banana. How much do you think a banana weighs? Do you think it's more or less than a mouse? So the mouse is 19 grams. Do you think a banana is more or less? How many grams do you think a banana is? It's 120 grams. So a banana is 120 grams. Let's try another object or thing. So this time we've got it's a football. How much do you think a football weighs? Do you think it's more than a banana or less than a banana? What about comparing it to the mouse? Is it going to be a lot bigger than a mouse or is it going to be smaller than a mouse? How much do you think a football weighs? 430 grams. A football weighs 430 grams. Have you got somewhere near there? Give yourself a pat on the back. Next object then. Ooh, we've got a snail. Now do you think that weighs more or less than a football? Let's see. Ooh, it's definitely less. It's 35 grams. So that's bigger than a mouse, but smaller than a banana. Let's go for our last one then. It's a car. How much do you think a car weighs now? We know all the rest have been grams. Now, do you think this might be in kilograms? Because it's very heavy. Car is very, very heavy, isn't it? So let's see how many, if we think it might be in kilograms, and if so, how many kilograms does it weigh? 1,500 kilograms. That's a very heavy object, isn't it? 1,500 kilograms. Right, so We've thought about estimating some different objects. Now we're going to see if we can measure, which is our second part of our learning challenge, measure some objects. Now to measure accurately, we need to be able to read a scale and find the intervals in a scale so that we know if we're looking at maybe a weighing scale, we know where the line's facing so we know how much something weighs. Okay, so here we have some scales. So let's start with the first one. We've got 0 to 10. Okay, so we know that all these numbers in between are between 1 and 10. Right, so we need to find the intervals, how many intervals there are between 1 and 10, and how much each one is worth. So let's count them up. So we've got 0, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 intervals between 0 and 10. How do we share 10 by 10? So each must be worth 1. So this one's quite an easy one. Each interval goes up by 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now look at our next one. So we've still got 0 to 10. This time we've only got one other interval. So altogether we've got 1, 2. 2 intervals. So what's 10 shared by 2. 10 divided by 2. It's 5. So 0 to 5 to 10. That's how many, we've got 2 intervals. So the first one is to 5, the next is to 10. Half of 10 is 5. Brilliant. Right, now what if we changed it 0 to 100? How can you use what we've worked out here to work this out? So instead of 0 to 10, we've got 0 to 100. So what have we done to the 10 to make 100? We've had to times it by 10. So we know that there's still the same amount of intervals, there's still 2. So we could work out what half of 100 is, or we could times 5 by 10, because we've times the 10 by 10 to make 100. 5 times 10 is 50. Or 100 divided by 2 is 50. Half of 100 is 50. Okay, now we're going a bit harder this time. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 intervals. 5 intervals with 0 to 100. So what's 100 divided by 5? Now we could work out 10 divided by 5. What's 10 divided by 5? That's 2. 2 5s make 10. 10 divided by 5 equals 2. Now, but we've not got 10, have we? We've got 100. So what do we need to do to this number to make it 100 divided by 5? So we've divided by 10 to get this, so we need to times that back by 10. So if we times that side by 10, we make 100. So we need to times this side by 10, so we make 20. So each interval is worth 20. So we've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Brilliant. Right, so today I'm going to do some baking. And I found this biscuit recipe, so I'm going to make some biscuits today. Have a look at the ingredients. We've got 200 grams of butter or margarine, 100 grams of castor sugar, and 300 grams of plain flour. Okay, and this is all the method for how to make the biscuits. So we're going to do some problems now based on these ingredients. So let's have a look. So we've got our learning challenge there. Can you solve problems linked to estimating and measure? So our first question, we'll need the biscuits recipe card, and that's good because we've got it there. What is each interval worth on each set of scales? Now this is like what we've just been doing, but these numbers are a bit bigger. So we've got 0 to 500. Now let's count how many intervals we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 10 intervals and it's 0 to 500. So what's 500 divided by 10? 500 divided by 10. 500 divided by 10 equals 50. Well done if you got that. So each interval is worth 50 grams. Okay, so we know that that one is 50. Let's just put it up there so we remember 50 grams. Let's try the next one. 0 to 200 this time. And how many intervals have we got? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 intervals. So what's 200 divided by 4? 200 divided by 4. Now, an easy way to do divided by 4, we could divide by 2, or half it, and then divide by 2 again. So half and half again. So 200 divided by 2 is, what's half of 200? It's 100. Then what's 100 divided by 2? Half of 100 is 50. So this one is also 50 grams. So if we count up, we've got 0, 50, 100, 150, 200. Brilliant. Let's do our last one then. So we've got 0 to 1,000 this time. So let's count our intervals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 0 to 1,000 with 10 intervals. So what's 1,000 divided by 10? What's 1,000 divided by 10? So we've got our thousands, hundreds, tens and units. We've got 1,000. And remember, to divide by 10, we're moving back 1. So we're going to be 100. Okay? So each one of these is worth 100. So we've got 100, 2, 3, 4, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. Okay, now there's a second part to our question. Which biscuit ingredient is in each bowl? Now we've got our biscuit ingredients over here. 200 grams of butter, 100 grams of castor sugar and 300 grams of flour. Okay, so we need to first work out where the arrow is pointing to on our measuring scales. Then we're going to try and work out which one of the ingredients it must be. Okay, so we know that these intervals are 50 grams because we wrote it here. So let's count up in 50s until we get to where the arrow is pointing. So we've got 50, 100, 150, 200. Each interval is worth 50. And we've got 200. So which one is worth 200? Yes, it's the butter. So the butter is 200 grams. So this bowl must have the butter in. So we've got each interval is worth 50 grams. Didn't write it in the right place. Anyway, then we've got 50, that's one interval. 100, that's the second interval, and that's where the arrow is, 100. So we know that's 100 grams. So which one of our ingredients is 100 grams? The sugar. So the sugar must be in that bowl. Okay, now we've got our last one. So, we didn't write this one down. Each interval was worth 100 grams. 1,000 divided by 10 was 100. So we're going to count up until we get to the arrow. So 100, 200, 300. So there's only one ingredient left, but let's just check we've got it right. 300 grams is the flour. Brilliant. Well done. Okay, so now we've got another problem. So this time, the castor sugar wants to be 75 grams, okay? So it's a different recipe. Instead of 100 grams, we've now got 75 grams of castor sugar. So let's just write that down so we remember. 75 grams of sugar. Okay, so it says, Miriam and Kyle are measuring the castor sugar. Kyle says that they have measured 75 grams accurately. Miriam says that they need to add more. Who do you agree with? Okay, so here's the castor sugar and that's how much it weighs, and they want to know if that is 75 grams or not. So what we first need to do is work out the intervals of this scale. So we've got 0 to 100. Okay, so now let's count how many intervals we've got. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 100 divided by 10. Okay, so how many groups of 10 go into 100? 10. So we've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Brilliant. Okay, so I've written down the intervals around our scale. So we've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Now, they wanted to measure 75 grams of castor sugar. So let's see how much they have weighed and see if it's right. So we're going this way around, remember. So 0 to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Now they've gone halfway in between 60 and 70. So halfway between 60 and 70 is 65. So they've not quite done it there, have they? Because it needs to be 75. So I agree with Miriam because she says that they need to add more. So Miriam is right. Where do you think that would need to go? Where do you think the arrow would need to go if they had got 75 grams in? So we've got 70. There's no little line for 75, but we can hazard a guess that halfway between 70 and 80 is 75. So it would go there. There we go. So halfway between 70 and 80 is 75. So they were just 10 grams short. Okay, so now we've got our last little problem solving question. So it asks us to use the information shown to work out the mass of the chocolate bar. So we want to know the weight of this chocolate bar. And in order to know the weight of that chocolate bar alone, it's also got some biscuits in with it, hasn't it? So we need to know the weight of those 4 biscuits. And here we've got the whole pack of 10 biscuits. So we need to know how much the biscuits weigh in total, but we've got an egg in there as well. So we have to work all the way back here to find out what 1 egg is. So we've got 2 eggs. We need to work out the intervals and work out how much 2 eggs weigh. So we've got 0 to 250. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 intervals, so we need to do 250. Where should we put it? Let's do it working out down here. 250 divided by 10. So we've got hundreds, tens and units. We've got our 250. We want to divide by 10. So we're moving back 1 place value. So the 250 goes there, and the 0, we don't need the 0 because it's not a placeholder. So we've got 25. So each one of these intervals is 25. Okay, so let's count up and see where we are on the measuring scale. So we've got 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150. So 150 grams. Let's just check we're right. 150, 175, 200, 225, 250. So we know we're right, 150. So that's 2 eggs. But we want to know here what 1 egg is. So we're going to do 150 divided by 2. Now what's 150 divided by 2? What's half of 150? So we could do half of 100 is 50. Half of 50 is 25. So then we're going to add those up. 0 add 5 is 5. 50 add 20 is 70. 75. So half of 150 divided by 2 is 75. So now we know that 1 egg is 75 grams. Okay, so now we need to work out what the total mass of the egg and the biscuits are, so we can work out what the packet of biscuits is by itself. So 0 to 500, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 intervals. So 500, so this is the first one, and now we're on the second one. Okay, 500 divided by 10 is 50. So each of our things is worth 50. So we've got 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350. Now let's write that there, 350. The next one would be 400. But we're halfway between 350 and 400. Now, so we know that each interval is worth 50. And what was half of 50? 25. So halfway between, half of 50 is 25. So we know that in the middle of each one of these, we can add 25. So we're going to do 350, add 25. So 5 add 0, 5. 50 add 20, 70. 300 add nothing, 300. 375. So we know that the total of both of these is 375. Now we know that 1 egg is 75. So what's 375 take away 75? 5 take away 5, 0. 7 take away 7, 0. 3 take away nothing is still 3. So 300. So we know this pack of biscuits is 300 grams. So now we're getting closer to knowing this chocolate bar, aren't we? This packet of biscuits is for 10 biscuits, but we want to know what 4 biscuits are. So let's divide 300 by 10. If we divide 300 by 10, we'll know how much one biscuit weighs. So let's do that. So we're on the third one now. So 300 divided by 10 equals, what's 300? So let's remember our hundreds, tens, units, 300. We're going back one place value. So it's going to be 30. 30. So one biscuit is worth 30, but we've got 4 biscuits. So one biscuit is 30, but we want 4 biscuits. So we're either going to times 30 by 4, which we could do, or we could times it by 2 and times it by 2 again. So let's think, what's 4 biscuits? So let's do 30 times 4. So can we remember how to do this? So what's 3 times 4? Let's do our 4 times table. So 3 lots of 4. 4, 8, 12. So 3 times 4 is 12, but we've not got 3 times 4, we've got 30 times 4. So we need to times by 10. So this is the opposite to divide, so we need to go up a placeholder. So we've got 12, we need to go up place value. So it's going to be, we've got the 1 and the 2 have moved up 1, and then we've got nothing in this place value. So we're just going to put a placeholder of 0. So now we've got 120. So we know that 4 biscuits, let's go back to the top, is worth 120 grams. So now we're really close to finding out how much this chocolate bar weighs. So 0 to 300. Let's count how many intervals we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we need to know 300 divided by 15. Okay, so this is quite hard. 300 divided by 15. What we could do is think about how many lots of 15 go into 300. So we could count up in our 15s. We don't really know our 15s very well. So what I'm going to do is look for something that might help me. So I know that 15 add 15 is 5 add 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 10, 2 10, 3 10s, 30. So I know that 15 add 15 makes 30, but we've got 300. So I know that 30 divided by 15, how many 15s was it? 1, 2, is 2. But my question is 300 divided by 15. So what have I done to 30 to get to 300? I've times it by 10. So I need to do the same to this side. So I'm going to times this number by 10. 2 times 10 is 20. Okay, so 300 divided by 15 is 20. So now let's count up our intervals. So we've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180, 200, 220, 240, 260. So that line there is 260, but what have we got? It's halfway between. So each one of these intervals is 20. So what's half of 20? 10. So it's halfway between 260 and 280. So this middle bit must be 270. So altogether, these make 270. And we know that the biscuits are 120. So we're going to take those away from each other to find this chocolate bar. So 0 take away 0 is 0. 70 take away 20. So 70, 60, 50. So we've got 50. 200 take away 100 is 100. So there we go. We found the mass of the chocolate bar. It's 150 grams. Okay, so now what you could do at home is try and find this. We'll do this next question on your own. How many bars of chocolate would have the same mass as 4 eggs? So you'd have to work out how much 4 eggs are. So you know how much 2 eggs are. You could times that by 2 to get 4 eggs. See how much that is. And then see how many bars of chocolate you'd need to get the same mass. So in today's lesson we've looked at solving problems linked to estimating and measure. So now if you want, can you bake these biscuits? Could you show, maybe you could send a picture, obviously get an adult to help you, but this could be your little task to do at home. Can you measure these ingredients using your scales at home? Can you show how you can accurately measure the ingredients? Obviously, make sure you ask an adult to help you if you're actually going to cook them. And there's the method. So you could pause the video and take a picture of the method. I would love to see all your biscuits that you've baked, or show me some work that you've been doing along with the lesson. Thanks for listening to my maths lesson. I'll see you soon. Bye.